Welcome to the set of Football Night in America, wrapping up Week 15. Birthday boy this week, Rodney Harrison. Birthday boy this week, Mike Tirico. No birthday for Tony Dungy this week.
How old are you, Mike?
Older than you. Older than you. Yeah.
Well, there's no cake to go around for the Patriots today after the way they played for the second straight week. That was a long setup just to make the cake line. The Patriots, what's wrong with them at this point?
Well, the first thing I see is not a lot of speed on their defensive side of the ball, and that's giving up big runs, long passes, things that we're not used to seeing. Tom Brady is used to playing with a defense that gets the ball back for him, and I think he's a little frustrated. He's trying to make things happen, especially in the red zone, making mistakes that we're not used to seeing from him, off-target throws, bad decisions. It just does not look like the Patriots team I'm used to seeing.
When I played there, Coach, we had a saying, and Coach Belichick had a sign that said, eliminate bad football. And all the bad things that they're doing now, that's what he's talking about. And when I look offensively, just the penalties, the mistakes, situational football has been really bad, but also the lack of separation from the wide receivers. Gronk doesn't look like the same player, Mike.
What number surprised you more from the game? Pittsburgh 17 or New England 10? New England 10.
New England 10.
Because you got Gronk, you have Edelman, you have Gordon. There are pieces there on that offense, and I was surprised this late in the season to see them only score 10 points on a day where it wasn't rainy or freezing
And go
cold.
through their history against Pittsburgh.
Right.
The last 6 or 7 games against the Steelers, they put up huge points. And Pittsburgh hadn't had answers for their receivers. But everyone, other than one play, which was a mistake, people were covered today.
You know, I look at Tom Brady, too, and I'm not that guy to sit here and say that, you know, he's starting to age. But as you get older, things start to really slow down.
So you're saying he's starting to age?
I think we all are.
Well,
I can see some grays there.
Thank you.
But, you know, I look at Brady and I see hesitation. I see when he's in the pocket a lot of times, you know, he's flinching and he's not all the way comfortable, even if he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him.
You know, and I was told a couple of years ago with Brady, don't watch the arm, watch the legs, because he's got that uncanny ability to move away from pressure. Not that he runs it a lot north and south, but he knows how to move around and avoid those hits. And once those legs start to go, that's when everything's going to start to go. It's still too early to say that, but he's not looking like the guy that we're used to.
Can I just throw out one caution before we say, oh, you know, they never get to the Super Bowl when they have to go on the road? Can they go to Kansas City and win?
Yes.
Can they go to Houston and win? Yes. Can they go to the StubHub Center, which might be a different name when they play out there in a playoff game because of naming rights, and win there? Yes, they can. So they can win games.
But 3-5 on the road this year.
And they'd have to win 2 of those games.
For me, yes, you have to definitely pay attention to that. But if there's one coach that can get this team back on track, I think it's Coach Belichick. I mean, I've seen him do a lot of wonderful things.
He's going to have to do some miracles with that defense.
Quickly,
the way they're playing,
and it's got to happen quickly. 2 more regular season games, and then the postseason begins. All right, the Vikings had a very tumultuous week. They fired their offensive coordinator. They looked horrible in Seattle. They turn it around. They get it done against the Miami Dolphins. What did you see from the Vikings with a new offensive coordinator in place?
Well, just their commitment to running the football, power back. It wasn't just Dalvin Cook, but Murray, and really using that to set up play-action passes down the field and just getting more guys involved.
But does it really take that? Do you have to fire a coach to get him to run the ball? Can't you just say, you know what, I want Dalvin Cook to get 15 carries? It doesn't seem that hard to me.
Yeah. I wonder what's going to happen that Week 17 game with Chicago playing Minnesota. Chicago has won the division. Depending what happens with New Orleans and the Rams, will Chicago be able to advance their position? If not, and Minnesota needs that game at the end of the season, how do you play that? Because they very well could see each other the very next week in a playoff game. Fascinating potential setup, depending on what happens in Week 16.
Always knock out a team from your division. That's my theory. You don't want a team from your own division coming into your stadium in the playoffs.
I'll tell you, I've been in that situation before. You don't want to show everything. You don't want to go out to knock them out, show everything, and then lose the game and have to play them again the next week.
So I almost hope the way the cards shuffle in Week 16, that's the scenario Week 17, and they have to make that decision if you're Chicago.
Doesn't it, Coach, doesn't it depend on, like, your team and if they're tired, if you have some guys nicked up?
You always want to give your guys rest, but even more than – we had that same situation. We played Denver, and we knew we were going to play them again the next week in the playoffs. So you don't want to show all your cards. You've got stuff that you know is pretty good against them. I shouldn't use it this week because I need to save it for next week. And it's a tough situation to be in.
One of the reasons the Bears may be locked in at number 3 come Week 17, the Cowboys lost, surprisingly. The 5-game winning streak ends. They score 0 points at Indianapolis. How concerned are you about the Cowboys?
I wouldn't panic if I was the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, I go on the road. I play a pretty good team, and I think they really just kind of look past the Indianapolis Colts. But if I'm the Cowboys, I feel like, I think they're a good team. I think they'll bounce back from this.
I had the same situation in 1999. We're in Tampa. We're on a 6-game winning streak. We practiced great. We went out to Oakland. We lost 45-0. And, gosh, you're riding back on the plane looking at everything. My trainer came to me and said, Coach, I know you're mad. I know you're upset. Our guys are tired. Give them rest. We're going to be okay. The next week, we practiced with no pads. We beat Green Bay. We won again in Chicago. We went all the way to the championship game. So we had 8 out of 9 games. We played great with one 45-0 loss in there.
No panic.
Burn the film. Don't worry about it.
Do you think the Cowboys are tired? Do you think
I don't know what it is, but I think sometimes that just happens.
Yeah, sometimes you have
games
a let
like
up
that.
like
It's
that.
just no way to explain it.
Here's the one point of caution. They had 3 double-digit drives and plays, 15, a 10, around 12 or 13, and didn't get anything out of that. They dominated against Philadelphia, time of possession and yardage taken to overtime the prior week. Are they having trouble finishing drives? Because we know 3s, not 7s, send you home from the playoffs instead of going forward.
They're scoring with big plays. We've seen Cooper on the big plays, but they haven't been great in the red zone. The more alarming thing, I think, is that defense and what those backs did today. Marlon Mack running the ball, against them. I think they're more concerned
Mack
about that.
told me he knew on the first drive that they were going to be able to do it. We've said that about the Cowboys a few times this year, that early on whether or not the Cowboys are going to have it.
They also had a field goal block, too, which
But
really
the
set
unique
tone.
situation about that, they practice against that very same defense. Matt
Mm-hmm.
Eberflus took that defense to Indy, so they practice against it every day. They know the runs that hurt that defense.
Hey, you don't walk in and beat Rodney's Colts that easily.
That's what I've been trying to tell you guys, man. The whole year. What are you
The
talking
Colts
about?
are no pushover.
All right, speed round time, and we mean it this week.
Yeah,
right.
Most valuable Bear, Rodney.
Matt Nagy.
Tariq Cohen.
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack, absolutely. What did we expect out of that team before Mack showed up? And look at what they've got, and they've clinched the NFC North today. All right, which team do you trust the most right now, either conference?
I would say,
It's a good one.
I'm going to go to Chicago Bears.
Los Angeles Chargers.
Wow.
Chargers.
Wow.
Chargers.
I know what I'm going to get from them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined
you
to say
don't.
nobody, but you know what?
They haven't been in this situation. You don't know what you're going to get from them.
But they've done things they never used to do
Mike,
before.
it's a speed round. Let them finish.
All right,
Well, you asked the question. You sidebarred, Counselor.
Always interrupting
Yes.
things.
I still believe
Go to Pittsburgh, fall behind by 2 scores. Go to Kansas City, fall behind by 2 scores. These aren't the same old Chargers.
These are regular season games,
I
though,
understand.
Coach. And I was a big believer of the Chargers.
I'm going to see the Chargers on Thursday in person, so I want to kiss up to them.
I still believe in the Patriots. I still feel like
More than anybody else?
Yeah, I still feel like they'll find a way to pull a rabbit
Really?
out of
More
that.
than
But we've
anyone
seen this
else?
movie too many times.
Okay.
Yeah,
Speed round, Mike.
I don't trust anybody else. All right, AFC favorite right now.
I would say the Chargers.
But you don't trust them.
No need for us to
Yeah,
reply.
Chargers. I got Patriots. All right, we saw a devastating block today, relatively speaking, by Titans quarterback Marcus Mariota on Giants linebacker Alec Ogletree. What is, and obviously he's going to take some grief in the film room for that. Ogletree will. What's the one moment that you took the most grief for in the film room the next day?
Anytime I would have a late hit that would possibly extend a drive, and it led to a score.
Coach?
Me, William Andrews. You probably are too young to remember
Falcons
that
running
name.
back.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hit him with everything I had. Got a clean shot on him. Splattered. Totally ran right over me. I took some grief on that.
How much did you weigh back then?
About the same thing, 190.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, well, that does
And it was a good
Mike,
shot. I hit him good.
Mike and I have never been embarrassed in a film room, so we get away with this.
There was no
one.
film of our game, so
All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next week.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.